All right, so hopefully you saw in that last video that this formula right here, this is the circle equation formula, okay? In particular, all right, this one is the equation of a circle in standard form. There's another one called general form that we'll talk about later. This is the equation of a circle in standard form. So one thing you'll want to be able to do is identify the center and the radius based on the equation right here. Okay. So the h and the k, those just represent your center, and then the r represents your radius. So here I've got x minus 5 all squared plus y plus 8 all squared is equal to 36. My center is going to be positive 5, all right, even though it says x minus 5. Remember the formula says x minus h. So it'll be 5, and then the y value is going to be negative 8. And then my radius is going to be 6. So the tricky part on the radius is, the formula, it reads r squared. So you have to think about what number squared will give you this 36 here. Or you just take the square root of it, basically. All right. The next one, okay, I've got x squared plus y minus 2 all squared equals 10. My center, all right, for the x coordinate, it's going to be 0. It's like x minus 0 all squared. And then for my y value, it's going to be positive 2. Okay. And then the radius, what number squared will give us 10? All you do is you just take the square root of this part. So the radius is going to be the square root of 10. Nice. So this formula, if we're talking about the center here, you can often think of it as like a translation, all right, like h units to the right. That's because we're subtracting on the inside of the parentheses. And k units, it would normally be down, but since we're subtracting, it'll be up. All right, that's why the center, it's like 5 to the right and 8 units down. And that's where we get our center here. 5 to the right and 8 down. So this equation right here, x squared plus y squared, this one's kind of a special one. Okay. The center is going to be 0, 0. And the radius is going to be 1. All right, so this is the equation of a circle whose center is at the origin and whose radius is 1. Okay, this one is known as the unit circle. This will be important later whenever we start talking about our trig functions. But this one is worth remembering. Okay, x squared plus y squared equals 1. That is the equation of the unit circle. Cool. And we just say unit because it's a radius of 1. That's all. All right. Next question. All right, so instead of identifying the center and the radius, here we want to write an equation given the center and the radius. That's the same thing, but the opposite. All right, my x coordinate is a negative 5, so my h is going to be a negative 5. That would be like x minus negative 5 all squared, but I'm just going to write x plus 5 all squared. And then plus my y value is a 4, so I'll say y minus 4 all squared. And my radius is 9. Okay, so I'm plugging in 9 for the r. So this is going to be 9 squared like that. And if you want to, you can go ahead and call that 81. All right, 9 squared is 81. Yeah. All right, one other thing that you'll want to be able to do is determine whether a point is on the circumference of a circle. All right, so here I've got 3 points, and I want to know which one of those 3 points is on this circle. So, I mean, you could try to eyeball it. If you graph this circle, it would be 3 units to the right and then 2 units up. All right, its center is going to be at 3, 2. and its radius would be the square root of this, which is about 8 point something. So you could try to eyeball it, maybe if you had some grid paper. This is about 8 units up. Oh, you can't even see it. But then you'd have to draw that circle, all right, something like this, whatever that circle is, and then you could eyeball which one of these points is on there, and you might be able to get away with it. Algebraically, the way you do this is pretty simple. You just plug in 12 for x and 1 for y, and then see if it balances the equation. You just see if you get 65 back. So I would plug in 12 for x, 12 minus 3, that's going to be 9, and 9 squared is going to be 81, plus 1 for y, 1 minus 2 is negative 1, but then when you square that, you get 1. And you see that this is not going to equal 65. All right, let's try negative 2 minus 3. That's going to be negative 5. But when you square it, you get 25. 18 minus 2 is 16. And then 16 squared is 256. But that does not equal 65. All right, if you try 10, you're going to get 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 squared is 49. Plus, and then we'll do negative 2 for the y here. That'll be negative 4, and then negative 4 squared will be 16. And that does, in fact, equal 65. So whenever it's asking you whether it contains a point or passes through a point, you just plug that point in for the x and the y and see if the equation balances. And as far as the center goes, I guess I should mention the center, it's just the x and the y that cause this equation to give you a 0 on the left-hand side. The center of this was positive 3, positive 2. But if you substitute those values in for x and y, you see it gives you 0.